renewing for nearly 2 years it is. Probably there are 2-3 anecdotes that I will take that has happened. When we started one collaboration Behera with Comfed, that time we are just meeting one of the principal secretary annual husbandry. Saying that Comfed is, the role of Comfed is to provide services to the milk producers. So why Comfed is taking money from you? One question. Then in that line he said, government is not the service provider, but they frame or regulate policies. And I think it's a very good example because we have the road transport, which normally starts with something, but it regulates the prices of the private transport. Similarly in all the examples, like BSNL and all, or Air India, others. Then once I got an opportunity to talk to the same sentence to C.P. Mohan. He was also from NABARD, but not a bureaucrat. Then Mohan said, I think the person who said may be respectable, but I'm negating the fact. He said the government buses goes to a particular destination even if there is no passengers. So looking at that, probably a lot of people go and why that bus is moving that place. So there might be some industry coming up, so people start purchasing land and other economic activities started. Then I am more confused now. So one way he is also correct, another way he is also correct. But in the whole process, what we are doing? Obviously, in government, normally in the entire process, we are bringing a lot of inefficiencies and ineffectiveness. From state transport to a lot of privatizing the bus services. Similarly, in the cases of Air India versus others, or buses were, or postal versus other services in the couriers. So probably this is one of the starting points where we can look at most of the best pilots have been observed in the country. Like Krishi Vigyan Kendra in the Pondicherry. Then our DPEP, it was a very good grand success in the country. Then our World Bank projects, in some pockets it was a great success in terms of the pilots. Where it just started expanding to SRLMs, then probably what CS said is absolutely correct. Some of the points I am completely agree, some of the points probably I will agree like after some years. Second is that what Zulfikar highlighted, well, that is one of the most critical thing which in most of the government programs we neglect, ignore, or we don't want to look at it. That is probably HR. We always think that because it is a government program, either we will just hire some people, we will do good work, we will give some money, we will get it done. It may be 2 years, it may be 1 year probably. Zulfikar highlighted that Rajasthan DPIP is 1 year contract for the NGOs. That is how the government programs starts with any of the programs you can take it as. And another good concept is 5%. 5% में आप काम कर लो. Because it starts with all the government schemes where government has to allow that 5% for the monitoring evaluation. You can hire vehicles, you can hire data entry operators, so that you can do that. If NGOs are engaged or interest to implement, then आप 5% में काम करो. That is how it started with. So most of the things, if you look at the highlighting feature is, have you ever thought of how to work in the bureaucracy? In the local level bureaucracy, or the district level, or the state level? But we never discussed about it. Probably in our entire education system, where we have never forced to say, or we taught something to the students where they learn this, how to work in the bureaucracy. How to talk to your boss, whether whatever your experience is correct, or your boss is saying is correct. So that is where the grappling issue is, main issue is this, where most of the things which is more critical and crucial, that HR part is completely neglected. Because most of the things in the government, if you see, the more prioritized issues, like if you want to scale up from pilot to scale up, you need staffs. So when the recruitment issues comes, then go to the, it is so neglected in the first 6 months, 1 year, then at the end it has to be done forcefully, You won't get quality people. Whatever stuff comes in, just start implementing the programs. That is one of the issues that I wanted to highlight. Probably this is most of the SRLMs are suffering the same line. Even if we say yes or no, but we also, at least what Ram said is also absolutely correct, we bring a lot of YPs. I think I started in 2012 when I had 77 YPs in Bihar, and when they came, everybody has one query, ये YP आए कुछ तो कुछ कर ही देंगे, ये कुछ खास है, and they will do much faster. They will come and do in the first day itself. So a lot of expectation, not in a positive sense, but in a more of a negative sense, क्योंकि इनको थोड़ा पैसा ज़्यादा मिल रहा है. Really, Ram highlighted the same thing. So this is where again, it's not about bureaucracy versus professionalism. It is again the people who are working earlier versus the people who are just coming in. So these are the two levels of again conflict that is going. Then third is that in the livelihood, the context of livelihood, I am keeping that aside now. Let's coming to the livelihood part. Probably CS has highlighted also clearly that in the livelihood, in most of the developmental programs starting up to the independence, a lot of energy has gone into the community mobilization. That is why in the entire country, if you look at most of the NGOs or the civil society organization or the best project implementation agencies, they are very good at the community mobilization because our focus was always in the community mobilization. Being in the watershed program, being in the SGSY, or being in the NREGA, or being any program that comes in, how to mobilize the community and community institutions. So our main strength in the focus is always that. I think most of the SRLMs now more capable of only forming SHGs, policies or access strength the microfinance. But the highest number of, in terms of the training, in terms of investment, in terms of effort, in terms of time, it is higher in case of the community mobilization. But livelihood is coming at the third end. IB, then microfinance, then livelihood. So in that particular livelihood, all the energy has been either, is gone away, and livelihood faces the maximum externalities. Climate, then the monsoon, then your soil types, then your market, everything is external in the livelihoods. And that comes the last, and the least training is given there. Least investment in terms of training is also there. Least in terms of exposure is also there. So most of the things getting into the tapering end kind of. Then the kind of professionals we are bringing in from whichever institute name those, are we ever taught them about what is the current livelihood activities, interventions, successful models? We most probably, if we think of, we mostly talk about the age-old practices. Probably they don't mind my words. Probably in the Rajasthan there are 7-8 DPIP best TIS. They have done fantastic work. But it is 10 years ago. But what is happening right now, that needs to be taught to the students so that whenever they come, and that has to be more empathetically taught. Focused, at least 10 or 15 or 20 students per batch, per institute should come up to work in that. And YP model has only taken for bringing a lot of professionals for livelihoods, not for again the community mobilization or microfinance, because we are best at it. But because our course design and academics is so diluted at this point of time, so the main focus is getting again three kinds of things, then people are taking the easy way. And again, I am coming by first point of the bureaucracy at the again local level, staff versus staff, and the bureaucracy versus professionals. That again, all the energy has been invested there. So I stop here because probably Babita will add to it more. And if Babita will focus on the partnership, we see if something I'll add. But in the next session, well, my name is there where I'll be probably add my views on the researching livelihoods. Babita.